Hey everybody, welcome to this achievement guide for Cuphead's DLC, The Delicious Last Course. Today we are completing 2 achievements in one video. We are completing Checkmate and we are completing a King's Admiration. Now I must say that these achievements are both tied to one another and they are essentially the same thing, except a King's Admiration is a bit more difficult. So with all that being said, let's just jump right into an overview of Checkmate, and then we are going to be getting started with the King's Admiration. Alright, so really quickly, just talking about what Checkmate is. The description is asking you to defeat all of the King of Games' champions, and the way you actually unlock these champion battles is by continuing with the story. You're going to be defeating the bosses around the 4th island, and as you do beat them, you are going to be opening up new areas, and when you go into these new areas, you are going to be able to see the ladder fall down from the sky. And as you see that happen, you're going to want to climb up it. Once you do climb to the top of the ladder, you're going to be able to enter into the castle and begin one of these champion fights. They are very similar to the chalice fights from the story. If you remember that, all you could do was parry. So that's all you can do in these fights. You can only parry, which is actually pretty fun, if you ask me. This is a great achievement. I personally enjoyed these battles a lot. It's chess themed. It's great, right? What I didn't enjoy was having to complete all of these sequentially, which is what we have to do for a King's Admiration. So if you are looking for tips on a specific battle, I'm going to be covering that in the specific section. So take advantage of the time codes if you haven't already to skip around to the information that you need so you can get to the fight that you're looking for and get some tips. Whatever you need, I got you covered. All right, let's get started with the King's Admiration. All right, to begin, after we have completed every one of the individual challenges, we are going to return to the castle and we are going to be selecting the Gauntlet. Once you have the Gauntlet selected, it'll go to a special door where we are going to begin the fight. Now, be prepared. This is going to be a bit of a laborious chore for you. You're going to have to reset a ton. I did, that's for sure. I definitely did. So get ready for that. Get ready to sit down and really focus. All right, so starting off with the pawn battle, it's very easy to parry them. You just need to dash into them as long as you're playing as Mrs. Chalice. If you're Mugman or Cuphead, then you'll need to jump on them. But I personally recommend you play as Mrs. Chalice because she has the best movement. The double jump is honestly a savior in all this. I'd recommend you bring her for sure. But all you need to do is dash into their bodies. You don't need to aim for the head. You don't need to aim for the, the parry spot. All you got to do is just dash into them anywhere you want. And as long as you hit them, you have taken them out. Once you've defeated all of the pawns, the round will end and we are going to be moving on to the knight. Now, when it comes to the battles in this gauntlet, it is actually quite nice. You get a refill on your health. So you don't need to worry too much about, preserving your health per battle. You just need to make sure you don't die in a battle and you're pretty good. All right, now let's get into the tips for the knight fight. When it comes to the knight, you want to make sure you do not keep a wide distance, because if you do, he'll do a really cheap attack where he dashes at you really quickly and you have very little time to react. I'd highly recommend that you just stick near him, stay near his shield. You can see he's taunting you. That's sort of the hint to stay near him, because as long as you're staying near him, you can kind of see his tails coming. And they slow it down. Like, honestly, it's kind of ridiculous how fast he is if you keep your distance. I think in this same fight, he does one of those on me, but I'm not too sure. Like, I don't know. But anyways, it's just a matter of staying close to him and making sure you are parrying on his head. It's really sort of awkward trying to get him, but as he is using these attacks, he has 2 attacks that leave him wide open for a few seconds, like that one right there. That left him wide open for us to parry on him. And then the one where he dashes across the screen, that one also leaves him wide open for a second. And both of them you can get multiple parries on at once, so it's something to watch out for. If you got the timing right, go for it, but you only have 4 HP if you are playing as Mrs. Chalice, so you gotta be careful. Just, parry sparingly and make sure you're making a smart move and not, getting too excited and rushing into it, or else you'll restart at the pawns, and that is just no fun, right? That is just no fun. All right, and as you can see, I'm continuously just waiting for the opportunity to get a parry on him, waiting for him to be exhausted. You see, I get the tell, he's about to dash, I get ready, I jump up and I dash onto his, what's it called? His mane? His hair? Whatever you want to call that. And that one was really quick. If you saw that, it actually was extremely quick because I was keeping my distance. So that's what I said. You want to make sure you do not keep your distance, or else they'll do a sneaky dash where the reaction time you need is insane and there's like very little chance you're going to dodge it. All right, now it is time for us to move on to the bishop fight. Honestly, this one is probably my favorite fight. It is just really creative. What you need to do is parry the pink heads, and then once they are parried, you need to put out the candles just by walking over them. It's not too difficult to just walk over them, and then once all of the candles are out, once again you parry, and it's just repeating that process over and over. The candle position, I don't know if they're always the same, but they're always varied, and they're sometimes easy to get to. Sometimes you gotta just be aware of what's around you and what's around the candles. You can see I got really close to getting hit there. I get hit a few times in this round, but I do pretty well to avoid a lot of damage here. You can see I just got hit, but you want to make sure that you do remember that you have the duck and roll move that Mrs. Chalice has, where if you get caught in a sticky situation, you could roll out of anywhere and just avoid taking any damage because you're invincible for that little second with Miss Chalice's roll. So keep that in mind, keep that in your back pocket if you run into a sticky situation here. I've used it a ton when it comes to the bishop fights. Alright, and you'll know you're at the end of the battle when every single candle is lit up and you have to put them out. That is the final phase of this bishop battle. And like I said, this was one of my favorites. This was definitely a really good fight. I had a ton of fun with this one. Alright, now moving on to the Rook battle. This one is kind of finicky. If you ask me, it's kind of hard to get just right, but it isn't exactly difficult. You can see the heads are coming at you, and all you got to do is parry them and get them pushed towards the Rook. I really like the design of it. It's actually a really cool sort of concept that it's an executioner and you're hitting the heads right back at him. It's awesome, but it's nothing too crazy. You have the sparks flying down below you. You can't parry the skulls, so you have to make sure you dodge them. And at a certain point, it does get a bit overwhelming and I get damaged a lot. So you want to make sure you prepare yourself by playing through this, going for the Checkmate achievement. That is actually really good sort of experience to get used to this stuff and get a feel for all of these different battles. This one is probably the one that I struggled with the most just because of everything going on all at once and having to worry about so much, making sure you have to like sort of juggle everything and get it over to the executioner. It's yeah, it's awesome, you know, there's no doubt about that, but it does get really difficult, and you want to make sure you're just sort of volleying everything and watching below you, making sure none of the other heads are coming at you, and you're just being as careful as possible. You can see I'm taking my time, making sure not to go for any risky situations, just going for the ones that I know I can actually get successfully and safely and not worry about getting damaged by anything. Although if you're like me, you are going to get damaged a few times just because of whatever reason I jumped on the spark. I don't know why that double jump didn't work. You know, you want to make sure you are just as safe as possible for situations like that. You want to have that extra padding of health to make sure you're avoiding any near-death situations. Like right now, I have 1 HP and I'm barely able to squeeze through everything and get that one last parry to take out the Rook. So yeah, it was a bit sketchy near the end, but nothing too crazy. Managed to get it done, so we're gonna move on. Let's go. We're happy about that. All right, now it is time for the queen fight. This one is pretty unique because of the way that we attack. So make sure you are just avoiding as much damage as possible and, you know, countering when necessary, all that good stuff. And you want to make sure that as you are attacking the queen, you are checking out the direction of the cannons. So if you take a look at this middle cannon right here, it is pointed at the middle and I just barely missed the queen. So that didn't damage her, and that was a wasted attack on my part. I needed to wait for the cannon to line up. So that's something you got to be aware of. I'm missing a ton of shots by, you know, not lining it up properly. Although this is a very quick battle for me, so it's nothing too crazy, but you just got to be aware of that when you're going for this battle, because I didn't know that at first, and I just kept spamming that counter. I kept spamming that parry, you know, and it just kept going and going and going, and it took forever. But if you're actually making sure you're targeting the queen, you should have no problem taking the queen out and completing this gauntlet. So that is all that is required for the achievement, A King's Admiration. You do need to complete the Checkmate achievement first, which is really just completing the individual battles that A King's Admiration consists of. So it's easier and it is sort of practice at the same time for getting ready for A King's Admiration. Anyways, with all that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that I was able to help you out. Stick around and subscribe if you did enjoy the content. Drop a like if this video did help you out. It lets me know, and you know, it helps me with the algorithm, all the good stuff. But anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope to see you in my next Cuphead achievement guide.